in one of these shows, I think.
Yeah, I was probably like 6 years old, and I had this thing with lighting everything on fire.
I was one of those. Dude, we're about to have a pyro moment.
Yeah, I was one of those.
So I have a famous story that I'll tell you about fire, but I want to hear yours. What?
Okay, so me, and I still remember his name to this day. His name was William.
Tell me you didn't burn this guy, dude.
His name was William. No, he's still, actually, I don't know if he's, I don't know. I'm not in touch with him.
Wait, did you burn this kid?
No.
Okay.
I didn't light him on fire.
Continue.
I lived in Alamogordo. We lived in a trailer park.
Okay.
In a section of the trailer park, there was a bunch of maybe like swamp coolers.
Okay.
I wish I know. I was 6. It was a bunch
of stuff. Sounds like a trailer park. A lot of swamp coolers, a lot of window coolers.
Yeah, and like just like excess parts and stuff like that, like on the in its own little lot, and stuff that looked like it had like a lot of like fibers and stuff, and we'd light it on fire, right? Because we thought it was cool. And
do those kind of things burn quickly?
They burn very quickly.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
they like a true pyro.
So yeah.
Oh, they're the best.
Yeah, and we roasted a few marshmallows. No, so we would do that and light random stuff on fire, but never anything too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
A couple weeks later, I go to his house and he's not allowed to play. I don't know if we went out.
Wait, how old were you? Did you say
I was about 6.
Okay.
6 or maybe I wasn't. I think I was like 6. And I went to his house to play and he wasn't allowed. William was not allowed to play. I was like, dang, what happened to William? He's my only friend. He has a Nintendo. You know what I mean? And I don't have a Nintendo, and I want to go play. I want to go play Super Mario Bros. With him. like, can William play? No, but let William play. No. So anyways, like weeks later, he's able to play. And I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I lit one of those things on fire, and like a fire truck had to come and this and that. And
just one?
Yeah. And in my head, I was like,
you
oh,
underplayed
dang,
that story.
Like that's crazy. You know what I mean? And then I went over to his house. And his parents made a comment like, you guys don't go over there. Like, I know you light stuff on fire and almost lit the whole park on fire. And there was, and I went over there and there was like 4 of those big I don't know. I think it was like some sort of cooler that has all the fire just completely black. Like that thing was going up quick. And so, yeah, so that kind of cut out me playing with fire because of like, dang, I could legit like go to jail. I was like,
wait, but you didn't do it. He did it.
No, that's right. But I kind of started because I brought the lighter, and the first time we started lighting things on fire. And I think I might have.
All right. My story's going to be way worse than yours.
Yeah, no, mine wasn't that bad. I
was thinking you were like burning stuff.
No,
but you were right. Into it, like kind of the fire. Because fire's beautiful. Like you ever go to a bonfire?
Yeah.
So like there's a normal thing I think there. But when I was a kid and I never thought about how I have actually had 2 incidences with fires growing up and both of them were pretty bad. And, 3, one of them had nothing to do with me. Fire's a weird part of my life as I talk to you about this. So growing up, I grew up in Louisiana in a trailer, like you said. Here's the first incident. I thought that I could refill my mom's lighter because they had Zippos. They had a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of paraphernalia in this house. They weren't doing the best parenting thing. And I thought as a kid, again, 6, 7 years old, that I would refill her lighter for her. I wanted to be nice. But it was a Bic. I didn't get how lighter fluid worked. And so I got the yellow, I'll never forget it, the refill thing. And I just started pouring it where the screw at the bottom of the Bic was. And so naturally it just falls everywhere, right?
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
That's not how it works.
It's not going anywhere.
So I just start pouring it in my mom's room next to her bed.
No.
And I'm like, oh, I get some on me, but I flick it off. I'm just a kid, And I start putting it and I'm like, she's going to like enjoy, she's going to fucking love me so much. I'm going to be her favorite child.
Yeah.
Because I refilled her lighter.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
She smokes cigarettes all day. She'll be good.
So now I'm covered in lighter fluid. So is the bed. And so I'm like, oh, I better make sure I filled it up right. So I turn it over and I light it and like the bed starts on fire. I freak out, even though I'm covered in lighter fluid. Like I don't start on fire, which I could have looking back.
Right.
And so now I'm like, I lit the bed on fire. I start throwing pillows on it, which makes the fire get larger. And then I go, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to leave. And so I leave because I'm just a kid.
Yeah.
And I walk outside and I see my brother and my sister playing with some neighbor kids. And I was like, oh, I'll just go to them. And so I go over to them and then we start playing and I look over my shoulder and my fucking house is on fire. Like the whole trailer. And so I'm like playing with rocks and I look over my shoulder and it's like, you see like a huge like smoke cloud. And I was just, I can't believe I'm telling this story right now.
It's just funny that you're just like still like waiting for somebody else to look at it. You're like,
that's literally how my mind works.
Am I still the only one that sees this right now? Or?
Well, at first I thought it would just go out.
Yeah.
Like literally my kid. And when I saw the fire, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I started playing like it. I'm like, oh, oh, and then I thought I should tell someone. Yeah. And then I go, oh my God, our house is on fire. Because my siblings are older. And they go, what? And we run back, and my parents, we get there, or my mom and her boyfriend at the time, who was not very nice, they apparently run to the back room. Their bed's on fire. They actually, so it wasn't the house that was on fire. The bed did go. Some of the house got it, but they put it out. But they were able, it turns out in the trailer in their bedroom, not only could you walk in the room, there's also like a door to the outside.
Okay.
So they threw the bed out there, and they were pouring a bunch of water on it. The fire people came out. And I just remember being like, whoa, what are the fucking chances?
Yeah, what happened? Did anybody see that? That's crazy.
And then my mom's boyfriend, like, who lit the bed on fire? And it was clear. You could see the bed. You could see where the fire started. I'm not a fire expert, but there was clear burn mark right in the middle, and it got less as it went out.
Yeah.
And what's it called? My brother and my sister were like, Will was acting pretty weird when he came over. Like,
yo, not only that, but I had a shitty pair of underwear that was right next to it.
Like my
total
DNA's
dead
on
giveaway.
it. Yeah. And they told them what I had done, and they knew, like, because I'm sure like, it wasn't me, and I'm sure I had like black marks. I was probably covered in the lighter fluid. They could smell it.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a nice guy. He actually threw me on the bed. I'll never forget this, from the top of the trailer.
The burnt bed?
Yes. He was like an alcoholic, drunk
shit.
asshole.
Oh, that wasn't
and he was like, you fucking want to burn my shit? And he threw me from the trailer onto the burnt bed, like where it was bad. And I fell in there, and he was like,
and all the kids were watching.
Yeah. Well, my brothers and sisters sure were. And I went around, and I got locked out of the house for the day. That's how they did when we were kids.
Yeah.
And so it complete accident, but not like, I don't know if there's a coincidence. Fast forward in life, we moved to El Paso. Oh, so that trailer ends up burning down, by the way. That's how we end up homeless. Not because of me, though. This is actually because of my brother.
Idiot.
Turns out we have a Pyro in the family.
Yeah.
We have a Pyro family. No, he actually microwaved a potato, but in foil, because they didn't teach us anything. And we used to make baked potatoes a lot. And so they didn't teach us you couldn't do that in the microwave.
Yeah, idiot.
And so he ends up burning down the trailer. We end up homeless in Louisiana, and we end up moving with my grandma in El Paso. And then, so what is that? 2 fire instances so far? Literally the whole thing burnt down this time, and we're literally homeless. It was scary. And not only, it's a weird feeling, even as a kid, I can imagine how my parents felt, but literally nothing. It's a weird feeling, like our whole house burnt down.
Right.
And we're like, it wasn't like we packed up. We just had nothing. We had no money, no nothing. So my grandma paid for a ticket. We hopped on a Greyhound bus. Yeah. 2-day ride. We ended up in El Paso. Years later, about 2.5, maybe 3 years later, same thing. I get this great idea to play with this lighter outside, and I end up burning my neighbor's tree down. And his name was Rainey. Poor guy. Was old man, lived next door, never came out of his house. He had one of those long trees, like pointy, like a Christmas tree, but skinny. And
it's the trees that people use to block out the neighbors.
Yes, exactly what it was. And I was playing with just burning stuff. I wasn't trying to start a fire. I was burning a paper and putting it out. And then I went to burn it. It really got going. And then my mom called me. I got scared and threw it. And it ended up burning this tree down. Same thing. Fire people had to come and put the tree out. And then my mom, that's when she was like, what? This is a third fire since you've been in our family, Will, even though I was in our family our whole lives. And so she was like starting to put it together.
Introduced you to our family.
And so like later on in life, I'm like, I did have a weird connection with fire, but also like kind of a coincidence and kind of cluelessness.
Right.
But yeah, I burnt down a bed, a tree, and my brother burnt down a home.
But you had to use that against your brother, didn't you?
You know, it wasn't you know what's funny is I don't. Like, I forget that it was him.
You're like, so what? I burned down the bed. Like, you burned down the whole house. Like, what about it, you know?
I forget that was the reason.
Do you want a baked potato?
Kind of not anymore. Kind of never.
You're like,
thanks for bringing up some hard shit, Tommy.
Hey, bro, can you go bake me a baked potato real quick?
In the microwave, right?
Yeah, in the microwave.
You have foil? I don't do it without foil.
Yeah, I don't do it.
That's not how I roll.
That clip you just watched was all right, but this next one, click on the video. You'll see what I'm talking about.